The loneliness of the evening is equalled only by the loneliness of the morning, is equalled only by the loneliness of the afternoon, is equalled only by the loneliness of all day, every day, day after lonely filled day, and none of these is equal
to the lonely desolation which lingers constantly in my aching, battered, shattered soul, which cries openly and silently, at times with gentle tears, at times screaming in pain so violently, waiting, 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 hope held tight, clutched with loving fingers close to my heart as I keep my life on hold, so that I may hold on to life.
How are you doing, Frank Carriad? I haven't had the best few days, I have to say, and next door hasn't helped. I've been having these nightmares, see, about these young lads breaking in and robbing me, threatening me, carrying knives, faces all covered up. I wake up in a panic. I can see them standing by the wardrobe, hiding next to the window. I suppose I must still be half asleep, because it's always a bit hazy. 1 minute I'm terrified, the next I'm furious that they've broken into my house. Our home, Frank, come to rob me and murder me too, like as not. So I go to push them out of the window. I always leave it slightly ajar, same as we used to, for a bit of fresh air. Sometimes I get a bit tangled up with them, but then they go through surprisingly easily. In the morning, it all seems to have been a dream. But my dressing gown's gone, or a whole pile of ironing I had waiting in the laundry basket. It did cross my mind the first couple of times that it must be true. They had been in my room and stolen my dressing gown and my things. Then that Mr. Hawkins from next door, you'll remember him, Mr. Grumpy we used to call him. Well, he starts banging on the door, making such a racket, complaining. And I realised what must be happening. I am trying, Frank, but I just get so tired and it all gets too much. Like last week. The bedroom's been a bit of a mess for a while now, so last week I thought to myself, why don't you try and start on a bit of tidying up, Lily? It's about time. I didn't get very far. It was too hard, going through your things, your shirts, your jackets, your jumpers. The jumper I gave you that Christmas, and then you were gone by the April. Then I found my treasure box under the bed. Kept it for years, I have. I don't think you even knew it was there. All sorts in it. Keepsakes, mementos, photographs, cards from my children. Christmas, retirement, thank you. Oh. And a notebook where I always wrote my poetry.
What's the point of being an English teacher if you don't write your poetry down?
Remember, you used to say?
You write such beautiful poetry.
Well, I don't know about that. But I did enjoy it. Writing as well as reading. So I had a little look through. I'd forgotten most of them, and then I came across this one that I wrote for you just after you died. Makes me cry to think of you dying, Frank. Always does. But it was a good way of talking to you in those first few months, without people thinking I was completely mad, off my head. Anyone heard me, they'd just think I was reading poetry out loud. Now I don't care if they hear me or not. Mostly because there's no one listening anyway. Would you like to hear it again, Frank? Yes? Of course you would. I called it Missing You, remember? It was one of my poems that doesn't rhyme, because you always preferred those.
Rhymes are for kids.
Remember, you used to say? They're not, of course, but, well, you're a solicitor, not a poet, so what would you expect? I woke through the night, as usual. Woke once more in the morning, as usual. Felt desolate and alone, as usual. Got up, came downstairs, alone, lonely, in silence, as usual. Made tea that I didn't want, toast that I couldn't eat, put the TV on, as usual. Just to cut through the silence and the loneliness. Watch some trivia or other, as usual. I can't remember what. Watched the presenter who had spent a week, just 1 week alone, describe the physical, emotional, mental and spiritual feelings and experiences which all apply to me, right here, right now, as I pine for you. I am alone because I am pining for you. I'm so very, very lonely. And sitting here at 7 minutes past 7 this morning, as usual, writing this to you, even the babbling nonsense on the TV does nothing to dispel that loneliness or my longing for you to be here, as usual. Bit sad that one, sorry Frank, but that's just the way I feel.